You want to know, like, who I am, where I'm from?
Yeah, man, just introduce yourself. We go way back. I know all about you, but the 12 people that are going to watch this, they may not know who you are.
Yeah, man. So,
Maybe 13.
my name's Brett. I've said that 5 times now, but I'm in San Antonio.
Hmm.
I go to the SSPX chapel there at St. Joseph's. Um, I won't give too much of a background, but I am in the military, so I'm stationed at Lackland, right? So that's how I ended up in San Antonio. I moved there about 2021, and that's how I met Azalea on like my second or third time going there for mass, and she sat down in front of me a little late.
I was not late.
Yeah, okay. She turned around and said, "Could I have a pamphlet?" And then, history. That the rest is history. So,
Yeah.
Azalea, if you want to add your part of the story.
Well, I'm Azalea. I grew up here in San Antonio, but I was born in Germany. My dad was stationed there.
I did not know that.
Anyway, I started coming to St. Joseph's in 2021. And then in 2022, that's when I met Brett. And I showed up just like a few minutes before mass started. Okay, I wasn't a serious Catholic. That's just what happened. And then sat in front of him. It was like I mostly saw older people, and so when I turned around and saw him, I was so like, "Whoa, there's a young man behind me."
Was
So
that one of
that's how it happened.
was that one of your first times at St. Joseph's?
Yes, that was like my third, or yeah, second or third.
Really?
Hmm.
For some reason, I thought I
Hmm.
remembered you going there for longer, but I don't
I
know.
wish.
Yeah, I
Both are
guess.
pretty fresh.
Yeah, got it pretty. Yeah, I guess all the years and stuff they kind of just blend together.
Mm.
But it's wild. Just
Well,
over a few years, what a community they've developed there. You know, like just since 2021, 2022, and now it's like uh, just massive, young, thriving, cool people. Yeah. So, Brett, I know you started going to St. Joseph's when you were stationed over in San Antonio. Was there what specifically brought you over to tradition? Because you weren't raised. Yeah, you weren't raised Catholic, were you?
Yes, I was.
Oh, you
I
were.
was raised.
Okay.
I was raised. Um,
Okay. Okay. I couldn't
and
remember.
then, but my family's mixed, right?
Uh
So
huh.
my dad was Anglican, still
Oh, that's
is.
right.
And by the time I could drive, I started just, hey mom, I'm gonna go to mass separately, because she used to drive me to mass.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got too lazy, and then I started just letting my dad drive me to his church, right?
Uh
And
huh.
I really liked it because at his little Anglican church, they had an altar rail.
Uh
The
huh.
priest faced the altar, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it was all low church stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but I was like, wow, this is cool. An altar rail, kneeling for communion. That's unheard of.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I flip flop back and forth. Probably received communion unworthily a couple times, but my own bad catechesis.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Fast forward a little bit to 2020. COVID hit, and um, I was stuck at home until I graduated.
Mm-hmm.
And then my mom broke her hip,
Oh no.
and she needed to be on drugs for a little bit. And we were worried about her driving,
Mm-hmm.
especially early in the morning to get to mass.
Mm-hmm.
So I was kind of tasked with, hey, Brett, drive your mom to church.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did that, and she went to a Latin mass in North and South Carolina. It's mostly diocesan. There's one SSPX chapel in Charlotte, but that's beside the point. And she went to this Latin mass in Tryon, and I drove up there, and just kind of like, whoa.
Mm-hmm.
It had everything that I mentioned before: an altar rail, priest was facing ad orientem, and I didn't know that term at the time, but just beautiful chant, just everything was just beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, where has this been my entire life? Um, so the remaining months there before the Air Force sent me to Mississippi for training, I went there, and then I went to another church in Mississippi. There's like only two Latin masses in Mississippi, and I happened to be 45 minutes away from the one at the bottom of the state.
Uh huh.
So
Was
I
that
went there during my
Hattiesburg or
training. What was that?
was that like Hattiesburg or where is that exactly?
No, it was in Bay St. Louis. It was called Our Lady of the Gulf
Gotcha.
Catholic Church. An absolutely beautiful church.
I'm glad you didn't meet anyone there.
Yeah, but I mean, like
I bet you are, Azalea.
I wasn't there for that long, right?
No.
But because I didn't want to let go
Mhm.
after I found it, so I kept going, and then I moved to San Antonio in about November of 21,
Mhm.
and I went to another church in San Antonio that offers a Latin Mass. I'm not going to name it, but I didn't like how the some of the ushers wore jerseys and jeans
Mm.
when they were doing the collections, and the priest read the epistle. Sorry, he would read it at the altar in Latin, but then when he would go up to the pulpit to read it, and I didn't have my own missal at the time, so I relied totally on the priest or like handouts from the church
Mhm.
for the translation. He read the epistle in Spanish and the gospel in English, and I was like, okay, I just missed out on half of the uh, the readings today.
Yeah. It's kind of odd, huh?
It was, and so I went to the ordinariate for a little bit, and I liked
Mhm.
it because it was like my dad's church, but
Mhm.
it wasn't quite. I felt like my dad's church was more reverent in a weird way.
Mhm.
But I'm not going to get into the isms. And then I decided, okay, there's that chapel called St. Joseph's down the road. I'm just going to try it.
Mhm.
It'll meet my Sunday obligation. And I met there, or sorry, I went there, and the community was like awesome.
Mhm.
And
Was that your first day that we met?
no,
Oh.
but I know you don't go to church specifically for community, but it helps.
It does.
And
It does. Yeah.
really what it was really what like roped me in, which is like people were so friendly to me. I
Mhm.
was like, whoa, they care about me. Like I'm not
Mhm.
just some random dude that shows up to church on Sunday. And
Yeah.
then I kind of kept going, and now St. Joseph's is my home. So
Uh huh. How's the new church project going? Any progress? Any updates on that?
uh,
Slow,
well,
slow
I
progress.
believe I believe we're supposed to break ground in October, but I'm not quite sure. I haven't seen any
Very
updates
cool.
as of recent for the past couple months, so that's TBD.
Oh, that's okay. I was just curious. But and Azalea. Now, I know your dad. He was a Protestant pastor for a while, right? And I know he's told me his story a little bit, where like he said correct me if I'm wrong, but he's went to the Orthodox Church for a little bit maybe, and then the ordinariate, and then he found his way to. Why don't you just tell your y'all's story? What's your story? How did you get to where you are today? The awesome, traditional Catholic wife that you are today.
Yeah, so we moved here. So we moved back here right after he was done in Germany, and I just remember church hopping a
Mm-hmm.
lot. And growing up, I sort of had that Protestant, um, I don't know if you would call it catechism, but like it was pretty fun, all the VBS, I'm talking about the vacation Bible schools
Oh
and
yeah, 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 yeah.
um, and my dad, he preached to us all the time growing up. I would dread it. It would be like 3 to 4 hours long talk, and but now I just wish I can go back and
Uh-huh.
experience it again. But I grew up going to the TLM at Our Lady of Atonement. Is that diocesan, Brett? Is that or was it
It's
in
They're
San
the
totally.
ordinary.
area? And I was kind of dragged there. Didn't really see. I was young, so I didn't
Wait,
really see the beauty of it
did you say
at that
you
time.
grew up going there? I didn't know that. I
Yeah.
thought y'all like relatively recently became Catholic. I mean, the past like 5-ish years or so.
Mm.
Yes.
Wow, shows what I know.
But well, we kind of moved around a lot and around San Antonio a lot. So we would also go to the Novus Ordo.
Mm.
Um, oh, I dreaded that even more because, like, shaking the other hands, and
Yeah.
it's just a lot of interaction between people. And I kind of, looking back, I'm glad during this traditional Latin mass that we attend now, it's just you and God. It's
Mm-hmm.
just you and prayer. And but yeah, it wasn't until COVID struck that um what's it called? Our Lady of Atonement dropped the Latin mass.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just ridiculous because a lot of the churches were like that in San Antonio. And there was one time I even tried to go to confession during COVID, and I'd gone down to the little flower basilica,
Mm-hmm.
and the doors were locked, even though they said, like, they would have the confession. And so my dad and I just found that so ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when he took us to St. Joseph's, and I experienced, like, the real thing for the
Yeah.
first time. It,
Yeah.
it just, like, blew me away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think we've said it on every little episode that we've had. It blows my mind that there was one Catholic church open in San Antonio on Easter Sunday of, well, I guess it was 2021, and as the only one was the SSPX church. Every other one was closed. It's wild.
2021. That's crazy.
Was it 2021 or whatever year COVID happened? All the years they blend together.
Yeah, because I went. I know I want to keep getting off on the point because I did go to mass in 2021 on Easter Sunday, and
Oh,
everything, like they were like easing the lockdown. So I think that
maybe
may
it
have
was
been
2020
2020.
then.
But
What was the
yeah,
first year of COVID? Was it 2020 or 2021?
2020. Well, really,
Okay, then it was
2019,
probably
but
2020.
yeah.
Regardless, at one point there was one church open. It's like
Right.
it's like, dog, you practice what you believe. If you really believe in the sacraments, the even if it was something crazy like Ebola, that shouldn't shut down the churches, or the bubonic plague never shut down the churches. But
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just where we're at in this world right now. People. I think people are concerned with just the wrong things. They're so concerned about temporal afflictions that they are more than happy to dump their spiritual life and their spiritual health in favor of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. What are you going to do? I guess on the bright side, if you had to find a bright side for that, is that when all those churches shut down, it forced people to take it a little bit more seriously, or just follow through to the logical conclusion and just stop going altogether. But yeah, I don't know. That's neither here nor there. But no, yeah. Thanks, guys, for sharing that. I told y'all a little bit before. I don't have a super formal list of questions or anything like that necessarily to ask y'all, but I did want to talk to y'all. I'm sure y'all are aware that Catholic dating and Catholic marriages and relationships and all that stuff has been on the forefront of a lot of people's minds recently. And it seems to only be getting more and more that way. I think a lot of people are having a hard time dating, having a hard time knowing how to date and how to pursue a woman, or how to be the woman that gets pursued, right? And obviously, y'all are an awesome Catholic couple, great friends of mine, I'm glad to say. And I thought maybe y'all would have some input, some advice, maybe in some ways, some warnings in other places. Yeah, and I just wanted to hear from y'all. So I guess we kind of heard a little bit how y'all met and stuff. Um, I guess a good place to start is like, why are traditional Catholics having such a hard time dating? In y'all's opinion, and I'm gonna catch y'all off guard. I know y'all didn't have a list of questions to prepare for, but seems like everybody's struggling with it. You have any thoughts on that?
I do, but Azalea, if you want to go first.
Sure.
And feel
I
free to be
think,
brutally honest.
well, I didn't have a great Catholic foundation before I met Brett. So honestly, I feel like I would have married him a lot faster if I had. But I was in my mind, I was still like, oh, I'm gonna finish college. Um,
Which she still is, by the way.
yes, I was fine with not, but he wants me to. But it deep in my heart, I was like, oh, I really, really just, I want to serve someone. I want to serve my future husband now. I want to have children now. Um, and that's when I decided to quit college and just go for it. I think a lot of people overcomplicate it.
Mm-hmm.
Although it can be very challenging to be in the dating phase.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's it can also be very exciting, but um, yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say so far.
What do you
All
when
right,
you?
cool. Well,
Oh, sorry. Go
go
ahead,
ahead.
Brett.
Okay, yeah. So I was just my input was, with our uh, current state of catechesis, people's idea of dating comes from a more secular point of view, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which isn't inherently bad, but that's the tool set that people have coming in into the traditional Catholic social sphere, and that can be very problematic as for men and women. And first of all, just getting over that hump of it's all about me. Um, and when I say, how do I put this into words? When you get married, it's not just you and your spouse, it's you and your spouse and God, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so putting God first in your relationship is really the litmus test for um, how it's gonna work for the rest of your life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Azalea and I worked very close with our marriage, our priest who gave us our marriage formation, and I had a lot of stuff that I had to get over myself. I mean, I'm kind of selfish, still kind of am. I can be hard headed, and just kind of like softening that and like, Brett, here's Saint Joseph. You see how he lived? He didn't complain about stuff. He kind
Mm-hmm.
of bloomed where he was planted.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just kind of letting go a little bit. Um, the next thing I want to attack is the just meeting. Of course, Azalea and I went to, or still go to, a smaller church in a sense that, I mean, while we are filled out the doors, the social community can be
Mm-hmm.
smaller and better, and people know everyone
Mm-hmm.
well. But if you go to like a large chapel in St. Mary's or any of the huge diocesan places, it makes it harder to meet people,
Mm-hmm.
right? So Azalea and I are very fortunate that I sat behind her directly in mass, and then I saw her like the next Sunday just standing out by herself, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go like get her number and like get talk.
And the rest is history.
Yeah, yeah, but like she wasn't like in a huge clique of like talking with her
Mm-hmm.
girlfriends, which nothing's wrong with that, right? But like as a guy, it makes it like, ooh, okay, that's a little more of a challenge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Definitely harder to approach.
in
Yeah.
addition, like yeah, and another struggle that I see is that after mass, a lot of people will tend to just boogie out,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of young people will leave with their families. Um, of course, at St. Joseph's, it's nice because a lot of us do stay behind and
Mm-hmm.
socialize. But I know there's a lot of very good young people that also just walk out the door, so you never really get the chance to socialize with them
Mm-hmm.
after mass. So
Mm-hmm.
And
Why do you
then
think?
adding on,
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead,
oh,
Azalea.
sorry. I mean, being raised in a mostly secular world, you're not really
Mm-hmm.
prepared for the maturity that you need to have for dating and marriage. Um, and so I think a lot of the lack of preparation is what causes men and women to struggle during dating and marriage because we really need that lack of foundation. Like women, they need to understand you need to have your emotions in control. Just like how men struggle with lust, women
Mm-hmm.
struggle with emotions just as much.
Mm-hmm.
And they may not think it's that is that important as a man controlling, his lustful um nature, that women also need to look at themselves
Mm-hmm.
because we have a tendency to use our emotions for manipulation. And I know a lot of women nowadays are against submission, even though the Bible says like you need to submit to
Mm-hmm.
to your spouse and God.
Mm-hmm.
um I think like a lot of the secular world look down on that. But yes, I think men and women need to realize that preparation is so important once you get into that,
Mm-hmm.
before you get into that dating phase and marriage.
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of that comes from like I keep hating the catechesis piece, right? But like in the new mass, it's from one of the letters of Saint Paul, right? Wives, submit to your husbands, and they get super hung up on that. Like, oh
Mm-hmm.
my gosh, I got to submit to my husband? That's crazy.
Yeah, it
But
seemed like a
the
bad
husband
word.
isn't. Yeah, I know,
It's
but
so
Obedience is
yeah,
vulgar.
yeah, but they don't read and understand the next part, which is um, husbands love your wives
Mm-hmm.
as Christ loved the church,
Mm-hmm.
and at the end of Christ's life before his resurrection, what did he do? He paid the ultimate price for
Mm-hmm.
his bride,
Mm-hmm.
right? And for men, that means, yeah, you like, in a sense, like you got to be able to be ready to pay the price for your wife.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like your wife, your life is hers,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's something that you have to guard, protect, and cherish.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can't, you didn't see. I mean, Jesus like corrected, right? But he wasn't an earthly dictator.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. No, and it's clear like he in his love, like everything was purely sacrificial for the good of the church. And so,
mhm.
being the head, being the authority of the church, just like in a relationship, there's sacrifice. It appears to me. I'm obviously unmarried, so tell me if I'm wrong, but there's sacrifice on both sides, right? The wife sacrifices some things, the husband sacrifices some things. This is true, but ultimately, like it seems that um, the one in the position of authority has more to sacrifice because it's all for. How do you? I don't know how to explain what I'm saying, but like it's you're like sacrificing for, like how Christ sacrificed for the church, right?
Mhm.
Um, and that's a greater, maybe harder sacrifice because it's humbling. It's very humbling because somebody in a higher position brings himself to a lower position for the good of another. That may not make any sense what I just said. It made sense in my head, and as I started to explain it, I lost my train of thought. Does that make sense what I'm saying, or is that like totally off?
100%.
Okay,
I also have something else to say.
go for it.
um I think so, to be brutally honest, I'm not sure why you would marry someone that you wouldn't trust committing to,
Yeah, that's
because
true.
I had quite the non-negotiable list And it's even longer now that I'm married. I'm like preparing.
I didn't fit that list, by the way.
No, you didn't meet the preferences, but you met the just the some things like, oh, I want him to look like this. No, but he met the non-negotiables.
Uh-huh.
And I kind of have that list now for my friends that want to get married. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, does he meet all of these things? Make sure he does, because if he doesn't, he's going to be it's going to be much more difficult to submit to a man
Mm-hmm.
who doesn't, what's it called? Reflect Jesus as much as you need him to,
Mm-hmm.
and to lead your family as well. But part of that list was, is he free of addictions? Does he have a career? That's a very important one, because if you're going to want to get married,
Mm-hmm.
that also means you want to have children as well. So,
Mm-hmm.
can he provide for a family? Can he provide for you? And how stern is he? Can he stand up for you and your family?
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing that I really fell in love with in him was the intelligence. He's very, very intelligent. That's just always
Smart
been one
guy
thing
Brett.
that's like, because you want a very intelligent leader, a strong leader, a
Mm-hmm.
stern person, and then of course the career part. And after when all of those things come into play, your marriage is so much easier.
Mm-hmm.
And so when women say, "Oh, I can never imagine, submitting to my husband. I don't trust him like that. I don't, I can't imagine doing that." I'm like, that probably means you may have made like a very poor choice
Mm-hmm.
in a husband. Um, and I feel sorry for those women, but that's just reality. That's just they fell into the um, the false
Mm-hmm.
idea that feelings are the only thing that should make you want to marry someone,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just so untrue, and it leads to bad marriages and divorce and heartache. So,
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's not discount. I mean, feelings do kind of matter, right? I mean,
oh yeah,
you still have to be attracted to the person
yeah,
first. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, if there's no attraction, then it's not going to work out.
Mm-hmm.
But everything else, 100%.
Yeah. It's like an important first step, that attraction, but the
Yeah.
the
yes,
attraction has to be sustained by higher faculties, I guess.
Hmm.
Yeah, this makes sense. Azalea, do you ever find it difficult, not because of a lack of like desire necessarily, but submission is a very controversial subject nowadays in our world, and it almost has a bad connotation to it, like it shouldn't,
mm-hmm.
but it
Yeah,
does. Now y'all may just have a relationship where y'all never ever disagree on anything whatsoever, and you're just in perfect harmony at all
no,
times.
Uh-huh.
But um, are there any times when y'all do have disagreements, maybe over very important things, serious things, and I guess how do y'all each go about that? How do y'all approach the conversation, approach the topic, and then I guess in addition to that, as the question for Azalea specifically would be like, if it's something you disagree with, like how do you handle that? And then for Brett,
mm-hmm.
like how do you handle the fact that this is a difficult thing for your wife, right? Like your wife's going to disagree, but you have to make the judgment call. How do you take into account her like emotions in that regard?
Mhm.
Does that those questions make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. What would y'all have
Uh,
to say about that?
so I think the important word here is sacrifice,
Mm-hmm.
and even people who aren't religious know that sacrifice can be really good for your mind, body, soul. Like exercise, people um, sacrifice their bodies to, feel good, be in
Mm-hmm.
good health and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. Um, it's just like that when it comes to submission.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when you submit to someone that's leading you, it makes you very happy. But I've realized in marriage, if I get my way, I'm not happy, or he's not happy, and I'm not happy, because he's not happy. So like it has to. That's pretty much
That's the
it.
problem.
No, submitting to him, submitting to God is like so fulfilling afterwards. Um, Even if it takes a lot of sacrifice.
Hmm.
That's that's what I have to say about that.
Does it like? Would you say like? Cause it does it like bring peace to you? Like just knowing that it's like, hey, it's out of my control. You know.
Yeah. And it's not like it's not like he's hurting me or anything, you know?
Uh huh.
Like people say, "Oh, what if he's abusing you and
Hmm.
stuff? Would you submit then?" Like, okay, why would you marry someone like that? You
Yeah,
know? Like
that's a
I
good
know the
point.
person I'm marrying.
That's a good point because, like you said earlier, like if you trust them, you know, to have your best interest at
Yeah.
heart, I guess it would be a lot easier, you know. Um, you know,
Yeah.
if you go into the confessional and a priest tells you, like, gives you some advice, like it's easy to listen to him because you know you know, like he has your best interest, right, and he knows what you need, maybe more so than you need. I could see that. That makes a lot of sense.
And one more thing,
Uh huh.
he is held accountable by the church. He's held accountable
Mm-hmm.
by God. So whatever he commits, or just if he does something he wasn't supposed to do, or he's held accountable by the church. He goes to
Mm-hmm.
confession, confesses that, and he's cleansed, and he can
Mm-hmm.
continue leading. So that's also another thing. He's held accountable.
Mm-hmm. For how he leads you.
Yes,
Yeah.
not some rogue leader doing whatever he wants.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Right.
I actually, women in Catholic marriages aren't entitled, or not, um, are told you don't have to submit if it's something that you shouldn't be doing, that you wouldn't
You're
do
not
for
gonna go jump
God.
off a cliff. Right.
Yeah, like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
like go jump off a cliff,
Yeah. You still have to be able to use reason and, you know, to some
Yeah.
extent. Like, is this something that's like bad? You know, if
Hmm.
Right.
for some reason, you know, you do find yourself in an abusive, or, you know, maybe you find yourself with an alcoholic husband at some point down the lines. Well, obviously, you know, faculties are impaired. If their sense
Hmm.
of reason is impaired, then they're not in a position to, exercise authority. I mean, that makes perfect sense to me. Yeah. And so just because that you're in the position to follow doesn't mean that you blindly follow, but you follow out of trust and out of love. Is that kind of maybe what you're
Yeah.
saying?
So I'm gonna insert Dr. Peter Kay's book here. If you haven't read True Obedience, it's a good read, and it talks
Is that
about
Dr. Peter
Peter
Kwasniewski?
Kwasniewski.
Okay,
I believe
okay.
that's how it's pronounced.
I don't know how it's
Um,
pronounced, but
but
yeah.
it talks about obedience to the church, right? But I haven't finished it, but in the beginning, it talks about what true obedience is, and all authority comes from God, right?
Hmm.
Whether it be like POTUS, the President of the United
Hmm.
States, your senator, governor, secular authority, but as additionally spiritual authority as well, like your priest, your bishop, so on and so forth.
Hmm.
Um, Now, a lot of saints, uh, how do I say this? They push their submission, not to jumping off a cliff, but if the husband was an alcoholic,
Hmm.
they stayed with him because it was the cross,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? And it's not necessarily a good thing, and you don't have to do that, but it's it's good for. Wow, that's really professional, Brett. It is a good cross, and your cross is your way to reaching your eternal beatification.
Hmm.
Excuse me, the beatific vision, right? But there's you have to factor charity in with your submission, and if your superior tells you to jump off a cliff, right? I keep overusing that, but like if I tell Azalea, hey, I want you to go grab um, tons of alcohol and give it to all the children after school, right? Like she's not going to do that. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I'll get off of that vein. And the disagreements part. Sometimes not every battle is worth fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Something that I've had to learn. And I had some help with that at a men's conference recently about learning from other marriages. Um, if it doesn't affect their salvation and it's not really that big of a deal at the end of the day, you don't have to keep saying no.
Mm-hmm.
And it may be like the third or the fifth or the 20th time that your spouse has mentioned it that day. And it's like, okay, well, it's kind of getting annoying, but it's like, okay, well, maybe that's an actual need. And if I'm not providing that, then that's making the marriage unhappy. And that's
Mm-hmm.
why she's brought it up 10, 15 times now.
Mm-hmm.
Additionally, like knowing where to apologize,
Mm-hmm.
which I've definitely messed up and like maybe I had a bad day or maybe I'm hungry. And then that makes me in a worse mood to deal with the needs of my spouse.
Mm-hmm.
And then I recognize that and it's like, okay, well, maybe it wasn't exactly a justified reaction. I'll have to go back and apologize
Mm-hmm.
um, for that response. But yeah,
That's another thing on the non-negotiable list. Can he apologize? And can he recognize that he's done wrong? Same on the women's side,
Mm-hmm.
too. But um, that's what you want in a leader as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, Azalea, so you've mentioned the non-negotiables list a little bit. Do you have like, a bullet point list you could provide for people? Say, look, guys, to each their own. But if I was in your position, don't date a guy who does this, 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 and this. Do you have just like
Well,
just lay some out for us?
I will gladly lay some.
And Brett, the same questions are going to come for you as well for the men. So,
mm,
Let's see if I can find it. Just a second. Maybe y'all can.
oh, you got it on your phone. That's smart. You can just like
yeah,
copy and
she's
paste it, send
Yeah.
it to to other women. That's funny.
thing for years, man. Like this non-negotiables in this. Like I told you, I didn't need it initially. So, but it has been updated and
It was actually my dad that recommended I make something like this.
yeah,
Well, Brett. Honestly, that's actually kind of that's like a good sign. Like if you didn't meet something at first and
mm,
then you grew into it, I say like from my perspective, that's a really good sign. That you can grow to achieve a higher standard. I also think you're
right.
probably beating yourself up a little bit, but you know.
No, no. I mean, no. I'm saying it because like on our list, it was like he can't be in the military
No,
or
that was
he
for the
can't
preference.
train.
Azalea! She
I'm
doesn't
good.
like
So,
our country's heroes.
The thing, my dad is one.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, he was in the army,
Mm-hmm.
and because he was in war, he struggles mentally with some
Mm-hmm.
things, and so I was kind of scared of military men because they
Mm-hmm.
were just so like, yeah. But
Mm-hmm.
Air Force, Chair Force, I just
all right,
it's
I'm gonna let that one
I'm
slide
putting
right
you on
now.
blast, Brett.
As the husband, I'm like, I don't have to fight that battle. All right.
An act of
I don't think
humility
he's gonna
to
join war, right? I mean, he's not a pilot, so like, maybe I don't really have
Okay.
to
Oh,
like.
wait.
So no,
he doesn't
he's a
have one of the
very
cool jobs, so he's safe.
this job is cool. It's just much safer and
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
really intelligent, so he's great for it, and it just worked out that
Mm-hmm.
way. So I'm really trying to find it, but
Yeah, and no stress if you can. Just I think it would be good,
yes,
to hear
I
some.
got it.
Okay, all right, let's hear it. Lay it out for us, Azalea.
Okay, so number one, loves God with all his heart, defends his honor, prays and lives by his commandments. Two is 100% pro-life. I had an experience with a past boyfriend where I was kind of cornered by people from my school about the topic of abortion,
Mm-hmm.
and this guy was just sitting next to me, not defending me at all, like or helping me at
Unbelievable.
all. I was like, I would never marry someone who wasn't pro-life already. So number three, I think this one is very important. Does not have a porn, nicotine, or alcohol addiction.
Mm-hmm.
Those will destroy your marriages. That
It's
will
true.
if that is the cross you have to bear, it's very difficult. And so before you, I would say before you even date, like become boyfriend and girlfriend,
Mm-hmm.
um, make sure you ask that question because you might not want to get involved with someone who has any of those addictions.
And on that,
Number four, on
I would also
oh,
say, I would say, in addition to that, yeah, ask the question and be honest about the answer too. You know, a lot of people, you know, maybe justifiably be ashamed in something, right? Shame in that
yeah,
sense is not a bad thing, but you got to be honest about it. You know, it's better for everybody involved, including yourself. You know, of course, that should go without saying. Just be honest. If you can't be honest, that's probably on the list too. But
yeah, yeah. Well, if
anyway,
you're looking to get married or have um, like find someone to marry, you need to fix that first. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
you
big
need to
time.
look at yourself and realize, okay, what do I need to fix?
Mm-hmm.
Um, let's see. Chase and protects your virginity until marriage. That's really, really important.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just expect to date someone or marry or yeah, date someone who is not willing to um make the effort to
Mm-hmm.
protect your virginity.
Mm-hmm.
And that's actually why I've had to end one relationship one time because it was just I didn't I didn't want it to go that far, and so I was like, okay, I want to take my faith seriously,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just gonna end this and move on, even though this person was a great person. It's just that is something that can destroy
Mm-hmm.
your relationship. Um,
Let's also think about respect too. If I can't
That's
yeah,
respect you
exactly what I
yeah,
was gonna
in
say. Yeah,
marriage.
yeah,
that's exactly
and
what I was gonna say.
also
If you can't protect each other, there's no respect. And if you don't respect each other, you know, how are you going to, to sacrifice for each other or to truly love each other? Yeah.
mhm, yeah. So you have to take the proper course and make sure you're careful
Mm-hmm.
about that during dating. I know during dating and during engagement, that's when Satan is going to try to destroy your relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And I personally would tell someone to not linger in the dating stage or in the courting stage, and well, you don't really have a choice for the engagement stage because it has to be 6 months. But not don't linger there too long because
Mm-hmm.
it can get dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
And um, although it's a very important uh, stage in your relationship, you should know who that person is and if they're going to make a great partner in a month in mostly 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
6 months or less. You should know if that person is the one that you should marry.
Mm-hmm. So you'd say like in general, like just as a like
Yeah.
paint broad brushstrokes rule, you'd say like if you don't know after about 6 months, then you kind of know.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
If
I
you
think
wait
that's fair.
4 months,
That's fair, and that's fair. And now you have several children.
well, but yeah,
Well,
if
I
you
guess
know
one
those
on the way.
non-negotiables
Yeah.
and you would just ask them and he meets them, uh, make sure you're experiencing those uh, emotional times
Mm-hmm.
during dating as well to make sure they have their emotions in check. Like watch how they drive, or someone said go on a road trip.
Mm-hmm.
You know, see how they react. See if they practice what they preach. You
Mm-hmm.
know, that's to ensure that they are who they are, and they're gonna lead you very well.
Mm-hmm. Now, Brett, the same question is going to go to you for men who are looking for a wife. Do you have like a list, more or less a list that you'd say like, these are the things you should really look out for that are maybe very pervasive problems, or in our modern times, or maybe just in general, just good things to look out for, positive and negative.
Yeah. So hello, Bobby. So attraction is super important, right? But you can't let it blind you. As I've experienced in a previous relationship of mine, I was very attracted to an individual,
Mm-hmm.
but she was very argumentative all the time. It almost
Mm-hmm.
felt like she was just picking fights over the smallest things. And I really had to weigh, like, if I get married to this person, is this something that I want to deal with every
Mm-hmm.
day for the rest of my life? I don't want to be arguing all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's where the submission piece comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I can't do. I just can't. It's not nice, and it really wears on you as a man. To where, like, henpecked comes from, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think I guess it's easier for men, but, like, are her values where they need to be? Like, I didn't want to date someone who was wishy-washy in their
Mm-hmm.
faith. I wanted to date and marry someone who was grounded on Catholic social teaching,
Mm-hmm.
like no ifs, ands, or buts
Mm-hmm.
about perception, the sanctity of life,
Mm-hmm.
um, feminism,
Mm-hmm.
so on and so forth, right? Like, there's just stuff that this is church teaching.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to argue about it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
This is the natural hierarchy in our marriage. I don't want to argue about it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so just being in that position first, right?
Mm-hmm.
Being attracted to the person, and then, okay, do they have their life in order?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not talking about sin. I'm just, like, again, like, respecting what is to be respected.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you say that's it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's not too much for men. Because what women have to worry about, okay, is this man going to take care of me?
That's true.
Well, okay, for men, it's like, I have to get myself. I have to have a career.
Mm-hmm.
I have to. I have to have the means to be able to take care of and protect my wife and my future family, support them financially. Um, sorry.
Mm-hmm. That's okay.
uh,
Oh, Harvey.
mhm. That's that's really it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just being a kind person. Makes a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not kind, then it's like, yeah, I don't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So, another question I wanted to ask y'all. We've talked a little bit about what to look out for, what to be wary of, um, kind of a little bit where to meet people, right? Go to church and stick around and, just try to socialize as much as you can, that kind of stuff. But it seems as though a lot of people have a difficult time. They have an easy time seeing everybody else's problems, right? Like, oh,
Right.
the men do this or the women do that, right? The women are all feminist and the men are all lazy, right? But oftentimes, somebody who has that attitude is very unprepared themselves. They're not in a very good position to be pointing out the thorn in somebody else's eye. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I guess what I would like to ask is how can men and women prepare themselves, both for men in a way of like finding a job, a job that you can actually support a family on and not hate your life, or a lot of people struggle. It's no secret. A lot of people struggle with pornography, right? A lot of men, especially, some women, but way more men, right? Overcoming that kind of thing, or just developing the virtues necessary to be a good spouse. Um, it's kind of a very broad topic. You could go a lot of different directions with, or a broad question you can go a lot of different directions with. But yeah, I mean, how does somebody even prepare themselves to be worthy of a spouse? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I know it'll be a little bit different for men and women, but
Mm.
I'm sure a lot of it there's some overlap.
My short answer would be like do the opposite of what the world tells you to do, or just what would you have to say about that?
So let's clarify the question. What are the things we're supposed to look out, or like
No, no, no.
how are you supposed to?
So we know what to look out for, right? We've talked a little bit about that, but like,
Yeah.
how do you prepare yourself? How do you become prepared? You know, I guess you're talking to, a 16, 17-year old young man or woman who, they want to get ready to be married, right? When they're, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 years old. Um, but just simply reaching the age of 20 years old or whatever doesn't make you ready to be married. So what advice would you give them to help them, I guess, get ready? Does that make
So
does
from that,
that clarify anything or no? Not at all.
yeah, it does,
I could go more
and
specific too if need be.
I would say for men, it's your career,
Hmm.
right? Um, you if you want to get married, that's a huge commitment, and you got to be ready for it.
Hmm.
And if you're going to college, that's great. Um, you need to work your butt off and get a degree and use your sorry, um, use your alumni center to your advantage.
Hmm.
For me, it was easy. I worked hard enough to earn a commission out of college, and it was pretty straightforward from there. But use all the resources that you have
Hmm.
to earn that career, so you can progress in it. Um, it's it's easy to have a job, but it's not easy to have a career,
Hmm.
I would say. Um, so that's your first and foremost thing. Um, or go to if you're in the trades, go to trade school, right?
Hmm.
Because I know trades pay pretty well too, but just having that career path.
Hmm.
Second thing is rooting out your vices.
Hmm.
Um, Obviously, like pornography is a big thing that men in our generation struggle with.
80
Um,
something percent.
Yeah, and to be honest, I thought I was clean, and I wasn't. I carried it into our marriage, and I saw how much it hurt Azalea. Um, and seeing the pain that it caused my wife was really what it shouldn't come to that, right? But
Hmm.
that's really what um, made me stop. I think I'm clean a year
Mm-hmm.
today, or as of today.
Awesome. Yeah.
But but rooting out huge vices like that are gonna affect your partner. Of course, alcoholism,
Hmm.
gambling, um, spending money on dumb things instead of saving it, right?
Hmm.
Um, just for men, it's about having your life in order, and then um, everything else will fall into place.
Hmm.
So,
That makes sense.
Would you like to?
Yeah, Zoya, what advice would you give to young ladies out there? How do they get prepared?
So I think growing up in a secular society, it could also be difficult on women, especially with vanity, materialism, jealousy, and uh, I think women are set up for failure in this society,
Mm.
um, in that we're expected to just get a career, like everybody else and work a job, and then you end up, putting your kids in daycare, and it just breaks your heart with the maternity leave
Mm-hmm.
that you're even with the maternity leave that you're provided, you're like, okay, this is not worth it. And not
Yeah,
only
but
that, you're in debt too.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I could go back, I would have definitely I wish someone would have told me that motherhood and being a wife was is one of the highest vocations and most fulfilling vocations you could have. Um, so I wish I had better preparation for domestic engineering is what they call it. Like cooking, cleaning, um, and just things like that. I wish I would have gone to cooking school or learn how to cut hair so I can cut my kid's hair, his hair, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I think women, if you're watching this, you need to understand it is so important to just do what you think is right for you when it comes to wanting to be a wife and a mom in the future. And although it's okay if you want a career, but like it is worth the sacrifice to um, you know not graduate and just find someone who wants to provide for you and experience motherhood as soon as possible. And being in a biblical marriage is so fulfilling. And so I'm gonna be honest, like it did break my heart a bit, watching some of my friends get get their degree and things, but I'm also glad I didn't come into this marriage with a lot of debt, because with my teaching, half of my teaching degree done, I was able to sub and have some money, but overall, I wish I didn't have to bring that debt upon us, especially since I'm home a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the time. But he'd rather me be home taking care of the house and taking care of our kids and him, um, than me going out and working a job that I would probably hate and complain about all the time. And
I trust my spouse more than a daycare,
yeah,
and it's also
yeah.
It's
cheaper.
reasonable.
But I mean, I guess if like she's working a job, then like having a daycare is like not really an expense you'd worry about, but still.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So I do want to like preface or not preface, but I talked about careers, and I don't want to sound like I'm insulting to anyone, when I was talking about a career, because I
Mm-hmm.
know getting a career is very challenging.
Mm-hmm.
So that wasn't an insult to anyone who doesn't have that locked down yet, but
Yeah, no,
yeah.
I don't think it would have. I don't think it came across as insulting. But even if it was, like, sometimes people got to hear it. You know,
yeah.
it's
Mhm.
sometimes you have to be told unpleasant truths, um,
Hmm.
and it's easier to just tell everybody what they want to hear. But what good does that
Mhm.
do? It literally does nothing. So.
So like it is good to live with your parents, right? But
Mm-hmm.
it you can't if you live with your parents but you have a career, right? That's just one thing. You're just saving money,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you could afford to live in an apartment and you just don't choose money, that's a really good thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? But if you're not in a position where, okay, I can have my own house and take care of myself,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's kind of unreasonable to expect that I can find a girlfriend and get married
Mm-hmm.
and have all of that without having that foundation to support everything.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll stop harping on that.
No, that's all right. I know we are. I think we're approaching an hour, if not over. I know we were having some technical difficulties early on, so I don't want to keep y'all too long. But maybe a couple other questions if y'all got time for like maybe 5 more
We're
minutes or
good.
something like that. Um, would y'all say y'all have noticed any change in values for yourself, or y'all's selves, I should say, from before y'all were married? Maybe even before y'all were dating, right? Like from when you were like 17, 18, 19, 20, whatever, um, to now. Like how have y'all seen any change in, yeah, I guess in values, like how a change in y'all selves and how y'all view things, view the world, view what y'all thought y'all would want that you realize now you never wanted that to begin with. Yeah, I asked that question like the worst way possible, but I think you know what I'm asking, kind of.
I think so actually you should start real quick. I need to take care of this.
Oh, okay. Um, that change in values really came when I came back to the faith.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was I liked partying. I wasn't going out to clubs, but I did like going out to bars and like I did like getting drunk.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's not no, number one. Like getting drunk is a sin,
Mm-hmm.
right? And number two, um, not really a good thing to come back to your spouse and kid with if you're not in a good mental state. Not
Mm-hmm.
saying I've done that, but less self-indulgent. That was something that's changed big time for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't just go. You need to make time for your friends, but I don't just go out after work with my friends as often as I did.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we're just, hey, this is my plan. We're gonna go do this,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, regardless of any appointments or commitments that we had. Um, like moving from the single life to a committed husband and later dad was a huge shift.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think that was really it. It was just a lot of the initial value change came when I just came back into the church. Like this is how I
Mm-hmm.
need to live my life. Okay, got it.
Mm-hmm.
How about you?
Yeah, so I think 19, 20, 21 was really when I had my major change.
100 years ago?
19, 20, 21. Um, but this is what happened. So I was in my I dated like two guys who were not Catholic, but I also wasn't practicing that much, so it wasn't that big of a deal. And so it was towards the end of my second relationship that was like that I'm very thankful that this happened, that the Holy Spirit started convicting me in the way I dressed, the way
Mm-hmm.
I acted,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, what is going on? Um, and I guess experiencing dating someone who wasn't in the same faith or believed in the same things I did, I was just in despair. I was just the saddest I've ever been, and I realized I needed a rock to get to be on, um, if I wanted to continue my life
Mm-hmm.
the right way and be proud of myself, um, and those sacrifices. So that's really when I started changing the way I dressed, started making that non-negotiable list, and entered into the faith again.
Mm-hmm.
And um, that the St. Joseph's, the traditional Latin Mass, was a major thing in my life that really just struck me. That was like, okay, you need to get yourself in order,
Mm-hmm.
and really fixed my life a lot. So
Awesome. Well, I appreciate that. Appreciate everything. I guess last thing, just want to finish up with any final, maybe words of advice, words of motivation, anything, any final message you'd like to say to the young men and women out there who are, wanting to find a spouse, get married, and yeah, have a good Catholic life.
I think women, you need to be picky, um, and you need to prepare yourself, especially if you want to become a mom. and a good wife, you need to understand that the person you choose needs to be a good leader. If you want submission to be easier for you. And for men, I have one thing. It's that don't be afraid to break that woman's heart if she's leading you and if she's leading you the wrong way. I know men do not like ending relationships. It's not very easy for them, but it is not worth it to marry a woman like how Brett described. It will just ruin your life. You need to set that standard. And I know there's not a lot of women out there who are prepared for marriage right now, but you need to just wait. And if you have to break that girl's heart, go ahead and do it because it'll be the best decision you'll make. So, yeah, that's all I have to say.
Yeah, so for men, I just say quit stressing. What he said.
Thanks, Harvey.
Just once your life is in order, like you have your own solid foundation, and everything else, in my experience, has fallen into place. And like you have your solid foundation, and you know what to look for in a woman.
Mhm.
Like, is she at mass? She regularly going to confessions? Is her spiritual life in order? You're all good.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for taking time out of your Saturday to come sit with me and chat a little bit. This has been enlightening in more ways than you know. So, thank you so much. I think we'll end it there just because we have been going on for an hour, and I know you have kiddos that are ready to get back to playing.
Sleep.
You just sleep. Well, awesome, guys. Thank y'all so much. And until next time, God bless.
You
All right.
too.
All right. Thanks,
Well,
Sam.
yeah. I'll turn off the video there. If there's anything